I mean, fuck, man. America this week. Like, you look at these things and it's just like, like it's such a balance because when I put my attention on it, what happens as a response is I think of the parents who have lost their children into this terrible,
Mm.
what can only be described as a deliberate man-made event. And
Yeah,
then I feel this
there's
passion.
a video out that I just saw that shows all of those girls that were lost in a truck being brought somewhere.
And then you get the next layer. You see? Then you open your heart, you feel the compassion and the suffering and the anguish. And
Yeah,
then a new layer will emerge. And whether it's a real layer or just part of the Jew tube, like is it a false like layer? Because every time you turn on fucking YouTube, and again, it's such a balancing act because that's where we go to get our information or whatever form of media it is, whatever it is. And
mm.
you went on there's a massive, massive programming running through the socials now of end time prophecy, end time prophecy, end time prophecy,
Yeah,
and all to link up and I understand why people have become born again Christians because when you get to the end, when you get to our age into these, understandings and you're tearing off, constantly tearing off all the programming and the delusions. Like you need something to grasp onto that holds you higher than it, that holds you above it, that somehow is like a life ship, a lifeboat, right? I understand why it's everyone's grappling and moving towards that ultimate conclusion. But it doesn't work for me. It doesn't land with me. It feels Abrahamic to me. It's not my solution. And failing that, where do you go when like every time you put your attention on something, certainly in the world, and yes, the response could be stop focusing on the world at all, but like our very nature as truth seekers is we can't fucking help it. Like
yeah,
it's like an act of discipline not to do it. Like we have to have a detox, like deliberate fast from it.
yeah, like yeah, totally. But it's the way we take it in. See, their biggest, one of their biggest tools is to hook all this stuff to our emotions. So we get emotionally involved. That's why there's always children involved, and it's always tragic in that. But like I said, I saw a video of all of those girls in a truck. I'll put it in the video if I can find it.
Hey, look, check this out. You know them girls, right? The girls that went missing in a camp due to the flooding? Oh, you won't believe it. They found them. They found them. Look, check this out. Especially that one. That one specifically. Look. Those are the girls that are missing, right? That were missing. They show it on the news. Oh, man, I'm not playing. Look. See? There they are. Look at that. None of them are crying. They're not dirty. And look. This one's smiling. Look at that. There's a couple on there smiling. Look. Yep, they found him. Look, there's a one with a bicycle helmet. Watch. Doesn't this one look familiar though? Check this out. Look at that. Huh?
Fine, safe, sound. So it looks like another, flag that is false. Like, and that's what they're doing. And we've seen this a million times, right? In the when there's wars and you get those people, the journalists and they're filming this thing and someone's blown apart, and then you get the bigger picture and it's just a normal street and they've just set up this thing. Like
Yeah,
it's everywhere. I watched a bit of what's his name? Ole someone. Can't remember his surname. He's like a Swiss guy who goes into all the false flags and he just shows that they're all staged. No one actually gets unalived, and they're all actors, right? They're all crisis actors. And he
I mean,
points out
isn't
the
it like
same the
that? I
same
feel like
actors in it. So It's all a show.
Yeah,
So what
it
I'm
can't
saying
be all that.
is you can watch it, but don't judge things as right or wrong. Don't get emotionally attached to them. It's just a show.
But
It-
that's like that statement in itself is very difficult to comprehend to say the goddess.
It's
You know, like the feminine angle on that is very hard to balance, man, because at the end of the day, like, yes, there may be some, like, yes, of course, there is that other layer of deception, you
mm,
know, that whole setup of what we see, that's set. But then there's obviously also great suffering and loss and death that's happening also. I mean, these weather events can't all be staged, Cam. Like they've got, you know,
mm,
I mean, they can be induced, and there's like the amount of water that's occurring all around the world is, you know, it can be man-made and induced, but wow, it's wiping out whole townships. And so you watch it and you can't help but tune into the empathy and the compassion and the experience of other mums and families who are processing and being affected by this in real life, in real time. And then, of course,
mm.
because which the next layer will occur. And then it's sort of like, so then you can't feel it, or like to advise not to feel it, not get caught up in the feelings of it. Then we get a really funky vibe with how we process our emotional landscape, you know, how we move through these times and know when to feel and when to express and when to experience and when to emanate those experiences of compassion and love. It's very, it's such a,
Yeah, it's a
it's,
fine line. I agree. Like, yeah, yeah, we don't want to lose our compassion, right? Obviously, and look at everything as, oh, well, it's fake. But the truth is, we don't know what's real. I mean, we've both spoken to people around the world and asked them, oh, what's going on? We've heard there's, this happening and that happening. And every single time I ask someone, they're like, no, nothing's happening here. It's completely fine. So we can't lose our compassion, but like, if we start judging everything as this is 100% true because it's on the TV, I mean, isn't that what we spent that was one of our first things, turn off the TV, it's all crap.
yeah, I know, but
And
like,
now we're watching the internet and we think that it's somehow different because it's a different screen, right? But it's
but it's
not.
also where we're going to get our, trying to put together the truth. So, I
Sure.
mean, it's like a paradox,
You've got to
you
be
know?
discerning, right? And just see it as information, I think, and try and put it
Mm.
together. But I mean, I think what we do know is they're liars and deceivers. They own Hollywood. They're all actors. Like, we know this, right? We know that. So why wouldn't they be acting everywhere? So
I
I'm
guess
not saying no bad shit happens, obviously, but we just don't know what's
I
real
don't know.
anymore.
I agree, but the glitch in that whole structure is that the internet has also facilitated billions or millions of humans putting up content, their own content, and their own videos of their own backyard and their own. So, you know, you've got this big mix going on. Like, I
Yes.
mean, you can't say it's all set because like you may get 100, 1,000 different people using their phones to take video footage of various aspects of that experience. Like, you know, you can't say it's
Yeah.
all
Well, I've looked into a few of them, like those metal balls that were going around that everyone was talking about that were flying in the air, and a few other ones. And the source videos, there's normally only a couple. There's like maybe three or four, but it looks like there's hundreds because everyone cuts them and puts themselves and does all these, those TikTok type videos. And so we really don't know. Like, I haven't seen now all this stuff in the sky and all the plasma and all that kind of stuff. I've only seen it on a screen. I've never seen it in real life. So we do, and we know that they control the algorithms, right? Like, there's massive censorship. So how is all this stuff getting out if they don't want it out? And if they want it out, then there's an agenda behind it.
well, there's a doomsday agenda behind the socials. That's the agenda behind the socials.
That's what they
It's
want us to think. What
moving,
if that's not
yeah, I mean,
true?
everything's moving
Hmm.
towards that doomsday biblical end times
Yeah,
prophecy.
because
All lots of the content there. for
They want
sure.
people to give up and go, oh, what can we do? It's going to happen. But that's just a story, man, that they're
I know, but
propagating.
for everyone that you've debunked, there are equal amounts that are validated as well.
I'm sure there is, yeah. I've just never seen it, right? A lot of this stuff, like any of it, really. So it's all interesting, right? Like I don't take any of it as being 100% truth just because I see it.
So then
Because,
what's your experience of doing all this work online then? If it's all not reality to you, why focus on it so
well,
much?
I'm
Why
not, it's not that
make
it's
it
not reality, but it's not my reality. It's not happening to me. So it's not
and
my experience, right? And so it's good or bad, but if this stuff is happening, like hurricanes in America, I can't do anything anyway. So me like giving up and getting stuck in emotionally and feeling sad, then I'm even doing less,
oh,
right?
it's a fine line, my friend, because if we all think like that, we're not empathizing.
No, I'm empathizing. I'm just focusing on what I can do. And what I can do is get out my point of view. I can point out different things. And in the end, people are, whatever we want to call it, awakening or at least getting a broader view of reality and questioning it, which is the main thing, I think. I think that we've got the 100th monkey and all these different sort of things, but that have been shown, like meditation, affects things, brainwaves. So I think when enough people are asking questions, that's because things are changing, but the news wants us to think that it's all going to shit when it's not
I,
necessarily all going to
yeah,
shit.
I concur. I totally concur with that.
Mm.
But like, I guess it feels to me that as a result of diving into this broken world to the extent that we do, it kind of makes us emotionally dead because
Yeah.
the way to process all of that, all of the horrendous shit that goes on and has gone on, it's like you're detached from it and the way to detach is to say, "Oh, I don't know if it's real or not real," which is valid because that's true. Um, then when was the last time you genuinely felt yourself like organically expressing deep compassion or deep empathy in your just emitting it? Because like when was the last time you felt that and it was expressed in you and you validated it? You know what I mean? Like I'm not just talking
Mm.
about you. Well, I
Yeah,
am asking.
yeah,
I'm asking you.
yeah. You're asking me though. I mean, I feel it all the time, but mainly in just things that are
Really,
personal to me.
really,
I
Cam,
mean,
like really
deep,
feel it.
deep, deep compassion. Um, I mean, yeah, I find it hard to get too involved in things that aren't for me, that aren't my experience. I mean, I definitely, when all this stuff happened to like, in the Carolinas when they all got flattened, I'd been there like literally like a month or two beforehand driving through it and it was amazing and beautiful and then it was all trashed. So, I definitely, felt that sort of loss, but I don't go down into those emotions because it's not, you know, my experience. It's something on a screen, and I think this is one of the problems. Is you go to well, I mean, even when we went to the Balkans and you talk to people, and when you went to China and India, you ask them, "Oh, what do you think about you know all this stuff that's going on?" And they're like, "What? What stuff?" They got no idea. They don't live in that world, and so they're not as affected by it because I guess they're paying more attention to their daily lives, right? Things that they can affect, and I think that's what we need to focus on.
Oh God,
What
it's such a
can we
balance,
do?
man.
What can we
Like
affect?
because we're frequency machines.
Mm.
So, and one of the if we're to believe that one of the tasks of those who have gone through all this deprogramming is to bring about a new frequency band, or at least emit a new frequency band, or at least match a new frequency band, or move towards a new frequency, anything to do with frequency bands, if we're to believe that that is part of the equation, then our frequencies have to be emotionally evidencing that also. And like being detached from it isn't really expressing a new frequency band. I mean, obviously, not feeling fear, although that's very difficult to not feel fear because at the same time that we could be detached and say, we don't know what's real or not real, we don't know what's actually happening out there for real, we could only focus on our own backyard, which is absolutely true. Um, but like it's such a fine line. Oh, this fine lines, Campbell. I'm gonna find this show fine line. Um, because at the same time, we're in our daily lives, like we are experiencing and witnessing, a massive agenda unfold on into our lives. And like COVID was the first one, obviously, that most people went, "Ugh." But there's been so many of them. And now we're looking at this, this topic of like basically annihilating the white race through immigration and what's happened in the confounds of that. I mean, I had no idea, Cam, but like Sweden has become the number one rape country of the world. Like because of the mass immigration of Muslims, Black Muslims who consider, Western women prostitutes, essentially. 1 in 4 women are being raped in Sweden today. So, I mean, now we can sit here and say, okay, yeah, I mean, but I don't know anyone from Sweden who's been raped, and I don't know anyone who's having that experience or doing that thing. So I won't think about that thing. But when you do think about that thing, it makes you fucking really your heart break, man. It makes your heart break and it makes you feel like so sad and so compassionate and it makes you feel these things, right? So like it's like how and then from feeling those things and you become conscious of those things and you're feeling those things, how does that impact the reality here in Australia if you're feeling compassion for the women in Sweden as a result of this agenda to immigrate, to like use immigration to basically wipe out the race,
Mm.
so it's I guess we're having a masculine and feminine dichotomy moment here because like we've got two, you and I obviously hold those archetypes. So we're in a situation where we both do the same work together online and processing the same reality. Like nothing you've said to me is not true. And I totally understand it. And I think it's really difficult with the truth community because our emotional landscapes have wobbled. We're wobbly, and those who can't handle it anymore do tend to become a born again, right? They just like find the truth there and the pathway and the
Yeah,
savior
yeah.
and the
It
and
gives
the
them
code.
answers, right? Yeah.
But if you're not going to walk that down that path, you know, I feel like we're missing something, is what I'm saying. Like this whole week for me, I've really been, you know, over and over again. I thought, like, my whole life, what has been the number one thing people have said to me in response to any of this content? Like, what's the number one thing people have said to you whenever you've breached any of these topics throughout your life?
What history topics or
All of this, like truth topic. Like,
this topic? Yeah.
anytime you present, like, talked about it, brought it up from, the beginning when you first started to wake up to it to now, like, what's been the most average response? Do you have one? I've got a very clear one.
No, I mean, I have two. Like, I guess if it's, it's my audience, it's pretty much all positive, and with other people, it's pretty much all negative. They can't hear you, right? But my, experience with YouTube is I've always, there's the odd troll and all that kind of stuff, but not really. I don't really see it. I just get lots of thank yous, really. Thanks for bringing this
No,
to
but
my
like
attention.
in
Yeah.
your life, outside of this, in your reality, because ultimately this is a screen cam, so you don't even know if any of those comments are bots. Hello,
Yeah, I know.
and we
Yeah, I know,
that's
right?
the paradox of
Well, I
this whole
mean,
conversation.
it's the same in real life because I really don't, apart from my family, and they're sort of half awake, I don't really meet any normies. So, most of the people I meet are on my level and they just want to chat and they think it's all good. So that's kind of, it's not like, because I don't even have a job anymore, right? I don't go anywhere. I'm not around people that I don't want to be around anymore. So I've just had a positive, really. It's all I can say. It's all been positive.
I still have a very big job and I'm around lots of different people. And
Yes.
um, yeah, but throughout my life, not just now, but in the last 3 decades, 4 decades, the common thing that I get asked is like, now that you know all this, what is the point?
Oh, what's the point? Yeah, I mean, I have
Like,
been
what's
asked that.
the purpose? How does it impact my life in a way that has any purpose apart from depressing me? What's the purpose? And so I've been looking at that deeply this week. Like, what is the purpose of all of this? If actually everything that we look at online is a question mark and could be, I mean, like at the end of the day, Cam, the whole Tartaria narrative could be and is a question mark. We've all filled in the gaps, but the information has flowed to us from the same way the information flows everywhere else,
Mm.
apart from the beautiful attribute that we could go and look with our own eyes in our own cities. But like at the end of the day, if we stripped, if you stripped the internet out of your life, my friend, what would you be doing?
It's a good question. Um, Writing books. I don't know. I mean, this is what I'm interested in. I've always been into history and trying to figure out all the stuff that's really, I think, where I would have ended up anyway, doing this kind of stuff, just questioning stuff. I'm a pretty, I was a bad employee. I don't do that well in jobs when people tell me what to do. So I'd be either working for myself, building stuff or gardening, or I'd be doing this work just offline. I mean, which isn't
Yeah, but
very,
without the internet, what context would you have? What content, what information would be flowing to you? You would not know anything that was going on because Campbell's
well,
quite, for the
yeah,
majority of us, like 99% of us, nothing's actually going on in our backyards, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I was onto a lot of things. Obviously, we had books before the internet, so there was still information out there. But I mean, it's an interesting question. Is this, you know, part of, are we being led down these, rabbit holes, right? Because really, they want our attention, right? They want us focused on what they want us focused on. Otherwise, we start thinking, right, and asking more questions. So, and this is a question all the time. Is this all some kind of psyop? Because all the information's there, right? Like we saw what happened in 2020. You spoke about the wrong thing and they just took it down, right? So why is all this information allowed to be, you know, put out there and so much of it? Especially so that, that's especially the end times type stuff. That's why I think that's all BS. I don't believe it. I believe we've just gone into a positive cycle. And they're just trying to put out the narrative that no, we're going into a negative cycle because they want people to be of a low vibration. They want them to be controllable. And the easiest way to beat an army, right, is to talk them into giving up. And that's what they're doing to us, to people. Like they're talking people into giving up. Look, it's too hard. Oh, look, the devil's coming. Oh, look. I mean, look at the whole, Iran, other I country. Everyone was going, oh my God, it's going to be WW3. Oh my God. What happened to that? It's gone. It was just a big sort of fiery thing, right? So, yeah, I think we've got to be very discerning about what we believe is true. To me, everything's just interesting until I get more information to, conclude that it's real. Obviously, some things, when there's history in that, look, we can conclude that they probably were real, but in the end, I look at it as all as a show. And I guess the bigger question is, what is this place? What is this thing called life? Like wh- you know, we don't want people to go through bad stuff, but if it's all an experience and no one ever dies, then, you know, there's a bigger reality too. I just think in my experience, everyone who gets caught up going down dark rabbit holes ends up in a pile of shit. They end up mentally, they got all this stuff in their head, they get depressed, they want to change everything, but they can't. And I just don't see it as healthy. So I avoid most of that stuff. I just have a look and go, okay, I can understand what's going on there, but I don't need to know the details, and that's not going to be healthy for me. It's not going to help anyone. In fact, I'm going to be much more help if I don't go down there because I'm not going to be emotionally disturbed, right?
Yes, it's probably smart. Whereas I
Mm.
do the opposite.
Yeah,
I
well, yeah.
myself a little question like, let's just go back through history and really truly look at the destruction of the goddess on this realm. Like, let's really get into that one. And then I go down, and then I'm like absolutely mortified and horrified at the mass events that have occurred in our past that just lay
Well,
siege.
yeah. But remember, a lot of that stuff that's just from books and that we what do we do here? We question history, we question all this stuff. So,
And no, not quite from books. This is more recent than that.
like
But
the
yes,
wars
of
and
course,
stuff, yeah, yeah, yeah.
more recent. But then I think part like part of our process, and maybe this is not yours, and maybe this is individualized, maybe this is something that's an individual process. But part of this process that I've experienced through the last 20 years is the highs and lows of this pathway we've all chosen. And I guess for me, like, I almost feel like a duty. I almost feel like a duty to humanity to process as much of the trauma that's occurred to us, um, enable for me, just as one person on this realm, to then transmute it. Like for me to go into it, so I am conscious of it in detail and then able to grieve it, transmute it, because I'm pretty certain there's not one person on this realm who hasn't been born from one of these traumas. It's somewhere in their recent family line, and not that I am even convinced of genetic family lines, because that's not how I understand the death process and the potential, you know,
Mm.
rebirth process. I don't, there's no relationship between ancestral family
Yeah.
lines. Yeah, that's just something that I guess you potentially may line up to choose if it serves you at a deeper level, but it's not the typical process. Um, how does, how do we as a race of beings that have gone through this information attempt to reach a higher frequency or a new frequency band that we're all calling the new earth, or you know the split, or whatever you want to call it, without without acknowledging, and by acknowledging, to me it can't be done just by words. It can't be done, you have to feel it. You have to feel it like that. When you reach that when you reach true compassion, you cry. You can't not cry. Like, compassion is expressed with tears. You can't just think I'm feeling compassionate. If you really are, you'll be crying. It's just like there's a link, to it.
Mm.
Like, I'm struggling with the narrative, all right? So, but like,
Mm.
you get what I'm trying to say here. What I'm trying to say is it's too easy in our communities to say it's too hard and it's too dark and I can't do anything about it. And so, which is true. But like, then you skip over the emotional processing. You skip over the healing, the acknowledgement, the healing, the expression through. It doesn't reach your heart. Okay, that's probably a better way of putting it. It doesn't reach the heart. It stays in the mind. And are we as a community, like, um immature in that way that we don't, because everything's been so full on and so ghastly and continues to be that way. It's like we have got this like fail safe where we don't let it enter we don't connect our hearts to it. We don't. And the problem with that is when you don't connect your hearts to it, you're a weak creator. So if we're like on one hand saying that we're here to create the new earth, and you can only do that by deprogramming yourself and stepping away from the agenda, like what is it to create the new earth if you have not fallen in that truth in your heart, if you're not expressing from that place, would it weakens the vibrational reality, which is why I think so many of us struggle to really like make that step, make that action step that brings us to a manifestation, like struggle to have our shit together enough because we're not, and we've gotten used to not feeling anything about all of this, Cam, is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah. Yeah. Firstly, obviously, you're a woman. Women tend to feel a lot more.
But
Um, but I
it's
mean, what proof do we have that you're healing other people's trauma by taking it on? Because what we do know is you're taking it on. And wouldn't that inhibit your creation? Because you're no longer free. You've got weight on your heart, right? You've got all this stuff. So are you creating from a free, expressive place, or are you just deciding that if you take it on for someone else, that will help? I mean, does it, or does it just times it by two?
Well, no, what I'm more saying is because I'm not, obviously, I cannot take on
Mm,
the trauma of a sex slave imprisoned by
yeah,
the, I can't take that trauma. I don't know that experience. Like, so
yeah.
that's not what I'm saying. But I certainly can feel about that topic. I certainly can feel about that suffering. I can certainly feel about that idea. I can certainly feel the grief of the female line on this realm suffering so much for so long. And but more to the point, that was just one
Mm,
point there. But more to the other point was, have we as a community stopped being powerful creators because we've somehow by default like stopped feeling anything.
yeah, I see what you're saying. I mean, I think, feeling the bad stuff for people is probably going to inhibit creation
But it's
myself.
not planned. It just happens spontaneously and naturally. You're not
Yeah,
like
yeah,
setting
yeah,
out.
yeah. I understand. Yeah, yeah. You see something and you're like, oh my God, or whatever. But if you continuously go down these rabbit holes, it's not going to improve your loving, expansive creations, is it? Because it's going to also change, your mind, basically, isn't it? Like you're going to become a more negatively based person.
Well, that's my dance, Campbell. I have to acknowledge that has definitely occurred to me. Like I started this journey, wanting to know who God was and wanting to be in service to love. Have I lost you? Are you
No,
still
no,
there?
I'm here. Sorry, my
Yeah,
computer
I mean,
just.
I started my journey there. It was very much about wanting to understand love and wanting to understand God, which took me to the Buddhist monastery, and then that took me
Hmm.
to various places and me understanding it. And then I was hit with the rabbit holes, and the rabbit holes are fascinating and delightful when you start. They are absolutely of that ilk. You can't believe it. You can't believe it. It makes so much sense. They're exciting and energizing, and you get purpose, and you're dedicated to it. You want to know more and more, and you commit like a lot of your time to it. But then you keep going, and it never seems to end because you go deeper and deeper, and then you sort of want to feel like you've really got the right picture and the bigger picture, and you're really understanding the whole picture. You don't want to just be light on one topic and not having understood that. And since we're in this perpetual dance of there always being something more to perpetually understand, it's like being in this community and seeking these questions has always been a dance between exhilarating and expansive of our mental state and intelligence, and expansive of our sovereignty, expansive of our truth, expansive of our confidence to speak, all those things in the same way, like it has to also be expansive of our emotional landscape, because that's those two have to work together. You can't create reality if you're not feeling anything. You can't create reality if you're not versing yourself in those feelings of love, compassion, joy, lightness. And the truth community is hard. It's a hard place to find that within yourself, which is, obviously why you and I are like let's have physical experiences together. Let's, get out there and build and create and be in community. All those things are our response to that. But I feel like we are missing a deeper understanding of what has driven us all to this space and to this moment in time, and how truly are we able to bridge this kind of concept that we've shut our emotional landscape down, right? And yet feel this abstract idea that we're here to ignite a whole new world. And gosh almighty, I mean, when was the last time you sat down and wrote a letter to yourself from the future? Like, actually,
Yeah.
that's a good tactic. Like,
Yeah.
imagine yourself 100 years from now, telling yourself what it is 100 years
Mm.
from now. How many of us have stepped forward into that time? And then you've got to back that imagination up with fucking feeling something about it.
Yes,
And
totally.
and the feeling has to be deeper than just I'm satisfied with that. It's got to be deep.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
for
And I think that's it. I think we have to create what we want to create. The only thing we can prove is that we're conscious of where we are now, right? Like seriously, like we can't prove much more. So we're conscious. So that's the thing about all this external information, right? Is I think it inhibits us. It takes us away from what we really want to do if we're going down all these especially dark rabbit holes. But
what
it's external. I think we need to find what we want to do,
what
and that's the best place to create from. That's what I think.
what do you really want to do?
What do I really? I mean, what in a perfect world, I think like most people, I'd just like to have some land and good community, great, have good food, not have planes flying over the sky, which they're here in Netherlands as well, putting out their crap. I mean, that's what we really all want. And the way for me to get there is to make people aware that all this stuff's going on. Because most people still aren't, in the truth community, most of us only, talk to people on our level about these things, but most of the world that they still think they're
What's the drive?
contrails.
Because you already have a beautiful community around you. You already have, you already have the pathways to achieving all of those goals. Like, what's the drive to keep trying to, what's your drive?
Well, it's just to make the world better, to get it fixed. I've got kids, I'm hoping they have grandkids. I don't want them going
You do
into,
feel like, all right, so you do feel like some responsibility to fixing this situation.
oh, for sure. That's why I do what I do, to get information out there, to get people to question or to ask different and better questions. And as they do that, then they will awaken themselves. Then they're off. If you tell someone something, it doesn't go in. But if you can get someone to ask themselves a question, then you've done your job, man. They're off and running, right? You don't have to, and that's really what it is changing people's mindset.
Would you
That's what
not
it's
say that
always
like
been.
we're already talking into an echo chamber now, that everyone who's going to be affected or impacted has already been?
No,
I mean,
no, it's
I
still
done.
no. We still get new things, and Tartaria, and is still exploding. It's just starting, really.
It's hard to imagine.
So I think that there's definitely people that can still wake up, but there's a lot of people, wake up, right? There's a lot of people who are catching on to what's going on, but they still don't have the full. They're not at it's all bullshit. You've got it. Once you can get someone to it's all, it's everything is a scam against us, then I think they're in a position where they want to change it. And when enough people want to change it, they will. That's my plan anyway.
And this is a very, sorry, I should say, good morning, Tartaria, Australia.
Good
And
morning. Hello.
right, so we just started talking, and this is, I guess, just an intimate conversation as I go through my American Maya, as I tend to do. But I'm comfortable with that. I like to show the real thought process live on the spot. I like to be real like that. I think it's important, and and vulnerable as well. I like when we get a little bit vulnerable and a little bit nervy about what we're discussing. And, because like I feel again, where do we in our community feel vulnerable? Where do we feel that vulnerability? It's a big ask for a human being, an organic human being, to be constantly in this realm right now, in all the layers of it, and to continue to look, to seek.
Mm,
And for me, the biggest question I always have, because when I look at the question of purpose and all those things, is always my drive since I was a little girl was service. It was always to be in service, but not in a small way. I always had the drive to do it in a big way. And for me, that was always teaching. It was always in and amongst the world and the realm of teaching. But since we've got to this point in time, I look around me and I look within myself and I look around and I think the deeper teachings have almost come to a standstill. And it's an interesting one because we're in this moment in time where
it's potential, right?
yes, yes, for sure. We're in this moment of time of potential. And we're like, I mean, I don't know if you jiggle and wiggle this. You do it a lot less than I tend to do it. And you have to hear and indulge me in these dialogues. And here we go. And this is one we'd normally be having on the veranda, really, with a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
wines,
yeah.
right? It's not one we'd be doing as a show. So yeah, I mean, it's been interesting, like last week we were talking about the population statistics and the accidentally put out our Halloween special, and it was most unexpected. But I did do a lot of follow-up research on that actually, and I was very interested to get my head around that and the implausibility of what we've been taught around the stats of people who have lived and people who have died over the last, well, let's just say 100 years, 120.
Exactly. And it looks like
And
it's all BS again. All the numbers,
yeah,
and this is the thing, right? The more we look into anything, the more it turns out to just not be true, or at least the story we're given. So, and yes, this is the hard thing because we don't want to be bad humans. We don't want to see a tragedy and then go, oh, it's just fake, and have no empathy. That's the line. But I think we can have empathy without getting fully emotionally involved and attached. And we can think, well, that's really bad if it happened. But we need to understand, man, there's in everything, the fact of the matter just is that there's a big chance it's not even true. Like that's
and
what we've been proving, right? History, time, everything, death,
true,
population.
but
It's
but
all story.
around us there's truths. And like when we come together as a community, when we do these things, I like we all basically have the same general story going on. And there is like a point of creative manifestation-ish standstill right now. And there's a bit of
Yeah, seems
and
to
it's a,
be.
yeah, and it's
Yeah.
like, it's nice and lofty to recommend as a solution to go forward and get land and community and build and vegetables, and it's a nice lofty and be Anastasia in the forest. It's a nice abstract idea, but I honestly I don't ever meet people who are pulling that off, and
Uh,
it's because it requires resources that most don't have, because I believe we've become in somewhat nature weak creators. And I think it's because one of those reasons may be because we have literally, without even really being conscious of it, maybe as a point of survival, switched off our emotional landscape.
Yeah, I'm sure that we have to a degree. And this is, which is probably a safety mechanism. We can't take on all the shit of the world. It's not good for us, but we can't lose our empathy. We've just got to stay empathetic. But I mean, I look at it as I'm in the world, but not of the world, so I guess I'm a bit more of a spectator view, which is probably an emotional detachment, thing, right? But it still comes back to me like results, right? What are the which is what you're talking about, right? What are the results of everything we're doing? What are the results? Well, I know one thing for sure. If you go down all the bad rabbit holes and the deep ones, the results, for 100% of people I've met are not good. They're traumatized. They're stressed out. That they feel like they can't do anything and they're useless. So like I said, I look at things, I know they're happening, but I don't need to know all the details and all the gory stuff and put all that stuff on myself because it's not healthy for me. And we can't change it. If it's happened, right? We can't, like I said before, you can't take someone's trauma, right? So
Okay, so
I think we
I
need to
acknowledge that.
choose. I think our superpower is choice. What are we going to focus on?
Okay, so then what would we say would be the next step of getting back the health into our creative energetics? Like bringing back, a lot of people today, we focus on health because our bodies are the vehicle of our expression. Um, and it's
Yeah.
interesting that, like, it's interesting with the smoking. And oh, by the way, heads up, human beings in Australia this week, just so we know that the organic tobacco has returned to the shelves.
Oh, it's
But
back.
guess what?
25 grams,
No, it's no longer
$150.
legally allowed. It's no, now it looks like this.
Ah,
They
yes.
all look like this, but it's legally, you are no longer allowed. I can't show you to use the word organic.
They can't use the word organic.
So Minutu is now labeled original and
Really?
not organic. So that's what the holdup was. They had to change all the fucking packaging to get rid of the word organic.
What?
Not because it isn't organic,
No,
but
no,
it's not put into the tobacco industry here in Australia as organic. That's
that's
just one
crazy.
side note that happened this week.
That's
Um,
crazy.
but yeah, so I got distracted then. What were we discussing? What's gone on?
Um,
Yeah, like
creation,
okay, yeah,
yeah.
like um the health of our creative
Oh,
manifestation,
yes.
right? And how much time we actually spend in any space that's actually generating a creation of either individual desire or for a collective. Like, in order to do that, we would have to enlist, create, generate, imagine some pretty cool new tools that maybe are not being, you haven't been brought forth yet or utilized yet. Because
Hmm.
I
Uh,
don't, I mean, I'm just being very real and honest. I don't feel like we are powerful in that space right now because
we're too
we have
distracted.
because
It says it everywhere, right? In the Bible, I think it is, be single-eyed, is it, or one-eyed, which it's not Illuminati people, but it just means be focused. And this is what the media does. It gets us unfocused because we're thinking of a million different things and all this and all that, and this is bad, and what about
yep,
this?
yep, that's
And so
it's,
we're not
it's very,
focusing on what
yes, yes.
we want, right? We're not focusing on solutions. But if we put all that energy, or even 90% of it, right, into working out our own issues and how we can solve them, then I think we would move a lot faster. Like our attention is our creation, right? That's why I've been saying it for years. That's why they put all this shit out there because they want us to create their reality. So they put out all this predictive programming. Oh, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. The end of the world's coming. It's the apocalypse. blah, 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 bad, bad, bad. And if we believe it, then we create it. So if we spent that energy on what do we want, what do we want in the future? What do we want for, the future of the world, for, whatever, our kids, grandkids, where do we want to be and what do we want to be doing? That's probably a much better use of our time than stressing and worrying about things or getting depressed, about things that we can't change, that we literally can't change. They're on the other side of the world, in a different country, but we can change it ourselves
But
and
we
the
all what
people
we're all
around us.
seeking. We are all seeking to understand. Like that's a truth. We are all seeking to like you every day seek to still understand. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be watching YouTube or watching anything online.
Mm,
Like obviously we're still seeking to understand something, but like this thing is probably beyond our understanding. It's no
mm.
most definitely beyond our understanding. It's
Well,
definitely beyond, truly our beyond what we're ever going to understand, the depth and the truth. In this form, I highly doubt it.
we don't know because at the end of the
I mean, for
day, everyone's looking for an answer, right? But they're looking for their answer. We're looking for our answer. We're looking for the switch, how do we become these powerful creators? How do we become these beings that can fix things and change things? But the problem is we spend all of our time looking outside of ourselves at the world, which we can't fix. We can,
well
influence
then,
the world, but we can't change it. Just like you can influence a person, but you can't change them. You can't make anyone do anything, but you can
well
influence
then, Cam.
them.
All right, then a new question then, because if I ask myself, how does the inside of me look? And if you turned your computer off for a month and you were just on the inside of you and putting the same amount of energy and attention on the inside of you as the external world, like what do you think you'd be looking like in there? How do you think you'd go? I mean, I'm mm,
Well, then we'd at least be working on it, right? I mean, I think, I like thinking and daydreaming and musing and all this stuff. I think that's where the answers are, but I mean, we're still here and we're having an experience, and I find it fun and interesting. We've got to do something while we're here, right? I don't think the purpose to life is to go and meditate in a cave for your whole life because then you don't really experience it. So we've still got to do something that's interesting to us, which is, for people like us, it's what's the answer? Where's the rule book? Um, but so apart from that, my mind would still be working the same, but it would just be searching, internally, right, or in other realms for answers. So I think
do
less
you do you
screen time is definitely good for everyone, right?
Do you feel like honestly, do you feel like that you are here for a greater purpose than just say achieving the land, the block of land and the community? Do you feel like you have like energetically, do you feel like you have this other creation story in you that takes you to a bigger place of leadership or like what's
Hmm.
your because I definitely do.
I mean, yes, and as my
I've
life's
had
gone
that.
on, it seems to be more apparent. I seem to get thrown into places, right, that I didn't even really think about going, and then, but the way my life's gone, I end up in these spots with all these weird, circumstances to get me there. So in that way, yeah, I don't have. I mean, my first thought was, this is the wrong place. That you come back and pick me up. You've dropped me at the wrong place. Like so, I don't feel attached to the earth. Like you've got lots of past life memories and things. I don't have any of that. So I'm not attached to the world as in like I've come back to do something. But I definitely have this feeling, and obviously all the psychics that I talk to, they always tell me, "Oh, there's something I'm supposed to do." But so by looking at my life, I would say, yeah, like I've definitely been led to certain place that I've been led to here, right, and to all these different things that I'm doing. So yes, but I kind of think we have a bit of free choice too. I think, you know, if I decide not to do it, life will probably be harder, I guess, but then I'll just have to do it next time because in the end, I think it's all a lesson for us, right? Like we're not changing the world to fix the world. We're changing the world to show ourselves that we can change the world.
Well, that's if the world even exists outside of
Well,
ourselves.
whatever
Like
the world is, yeah,
I've got
exactly.
I've
Yeah.
got one version of me, and you have a different version of me.
Yeah,
And everyone in my life has a totally different version of me. They see
totally.
a different every single time. Like I'm the only one that has one version of myself. And it's
Yeah,
probably the
but you've
groggy
never
version.
seen yourself either, right? Because if you look in the mirror or a photo, you're reversed, so you can never actually see yourself.
Yeah. So like even in that concept, it's like, wow, like that's a big thought process, you know? Like actually you don't have never seen yourself. You only have your version of yourself and everyone else has a different version of yourself.
Hmm.
Which means so like it makes everything very unsolidified.
Yeah, but maybe that's what reality is. Maybe it's much more about results. It's great to have all these ideas and to try them and everything, but I think you always need to go back to results. Okay, I did this. What was the result? Was it good? Was it bad? And that's where our superpower of choice comes in. Okay, it was good. Well, I'm going to choose to do more of that. And it was bad. I'll choose to do less. But if we're not checking up on the results, and I think this is what people think, like what happens is they have these concepts of they're doing the right thing or they're helping or they're being a good person or whatever, but they never check, is it actually affecting anything, what I'm doing? Is it helping people? Is it helping me? And people can go for decades, right? Doing this stuff. People do all the time and doing stuff that's actually bad for them. It's like the plane, right? If the plane's going down, you've got to put the mask on yourself before you help your children because you're no good to anyone if you haven't helped yourself, right? You can't help anyone else. So I think we really need to measure what are the results of what are we doing? Great. You might feel good that you know exactly what's happening and that you're all compassionate, but if it hasn't changed the situation, it hasn't helped the people in the situation, and it hasn't helped you, it's probably done the opposite, right? It's probably taken energy from you, then is that something you want to keep doing? I know it sounds all very male and logical, but this is the thing, right? We want to use our energy properly. We've only got so much time and so much energy. Don't we want to use it to actually create what we want rather than to recreate what's already happened, which is what we do when we focus on the past and things that have already gone by? What do you think about
I
that?
mean, well, I feel like my life work's going to be in responding to this question. I mean, I just feel like I feel a little like we've regressed to, I mean, to put it really like uneloquently, to back to our bedrooms as students, you know, with no money, eating fucking 2-minute noodles and a bit grotty in that lifestyle. Um, expanding past that into a creation of ours or a business or a business model or an idea or like I feel like that's happening but we kind of like at the level of that happening in year one of university or something, you know, like we're at the beginning again of
Yeah,
these very little I don't even know the right word, like little dreams, little
pensions. Yeah,
dreams.
yeah. Yeah, we're working in mum and dad's garage, man. Just like Bill Gates and the Apple people and everyone else.
Or the
It's
billionaires.
all going to happen, yeah. But yeah, no,
I don't feel
yeah, yeah, keep going.
I don't feel like I'm saying anything wise here or really anything of service to anyone. I'm speaking just through this question, I guess. And I feel like it's a question probably I would say a lot have. Maybe
Sure.
not everyone, of course. And that it's at such a balance right now because we're in a realm which has got its own agenda and forces unfolding, and we're in our backyards, which has our little worlds and reality in with our communities and friends and consciousness. And seems to be a big, separation between those two things, depending on where you live in the realm. And I feel like we are naturally, organically attuned to wanting to understand and continue to understand deeper and deeper. So our purpose has something to do with that, obviously. Freeing ourselves from any relationship or any loyalty to that system is obviously extremely powerful, and we've done it. Everyone has done it. It's done. I mean, we'll never be at the end of it, but we're done. No one listening to this would be swearing any allegiance to any of those systems whatsoever,
Mm.
and basically work hard to do the opposite. So I think that's done and ticked. And I guess what I'm observing in myself and potentially the collective around is that there's like a new level of or a deepening of the understanding, a deepening of the wisdom now. Like, how much wisdom are you honestly taking from all of this? I guess that's another question I would ask everyone. Like, how much wisdom has all of this gifted you? When we take out the fact that it's got you to the point of not swearing allegiance to anything anymore, and that you've, for the most part, like released everything you could possibly imagine releasing as a reality, what wisdom have you taken out of that? Apart from, yes, there's an agenda going on. It's anti-life and they don't like us, and it's, parasitic in nature, and it's fucked with everything. Take
Mm.
that out. What else? Where's the wisdom for you, my friend, in this journey?
Wow, I think the main wisdom is, yeah, knowing what the system is and finding ways to live and create outside of it. I think that's it. I think I've definitely learnt a lot about myself,
Which,
about what the world is. I'm definitely a different person than I was, and I think it's all, you know, it's all expansion, it's all evolution, right? As long as we're heading forward, I think, it's a weird time to be alive. It is. It's a weird world. We don't know what's going on. We don't know where we are. We don't know when we are. Blah blah blah. But all we know really is that we are. Right? And we don't even know what this place is. There's so many questions. So again, I think we've got to, yeah, ask ourselves. And I'd say that I've grown a lot. Like definitely the way I see the world, the way I respond to people, it's all learning, right? It's all interesting and getting better. And it can all be fun. It can all be an interesting journey, right? Depends how you look at it. You know, like you can have mistakes, right? Instead of making mistakes, you can have challenges rather than shit going wrong. Everything can be for you rather than the world's against you. And I think it's our belief that makes that true, right? If you believe the world's against you, it's probably going to be that way because that's all you're going to see. So you're not going to take the good opportunities, right?
oh, yes, I mean, I take that as a given. I take that as a given of everyone's process, that we as a collective have understood that everything we're experiencing is a benefit. There's always a benefit to the loss. There's always that. I understand that completely. And in understanding the amount of genocide through history, like there's a benefit to us knowing that, obviously, as much as there's a loss in us knowing that, obviously. So I take that as a given.
Mm. I
It
mean,
doesn't satisfy me though. Like, because Cam, I can only use myself, and And I may be speaking completely not as part of the collective here. Like maybe this is not how anyone else experiences it. So it may be completely unique to me. But, I have the land. I've had the land many times and I've had the community, beautiful communities, so beautiful communities around me my whole life, always and forever. And amazing people. I've never been in any lack there. I've been blessed and honored by it. I've had my creativity working and flowing and creative and paint and all of the things that I love. And I have a beautiful world around me, and that's never not been the case in whatever chapter of my life. But it's not satisfying me. It's not
Not
because
anymore.
I have well, I don't think it ever did because I was always searching for that deeper service, that deeper purpose, that deeper um that deeper teacher in me, that deeper
Yeah, yeah.
wisdom, that deeper.
Maybe that's a big lesson that we need to learn, right? Is we're already whole, we're already fine just as we are. We don't need to be anything else. Because that we could definitely argue that that's an installed program, right? You need to be better than other people, competition, you need to save the world, like, I'm at the point where I don't know
But
anything, it's all been taught to us, right? So, and we know there's agendas behind most things they teach us. So I think that's why the answers have to be inside us, right? Because they sure as hell don't seem to be outside of us, right? I mean, that's, in the general world, obviously, friends and things have answers for us and puzzle pieces, but ultimately it's up to us and maybe it's this constant striving to be something that we're not. That's the problem. Maybe we just have to be happy with who we are and enjoy the ride and do good, and have fun on the way through. Because ultimately it's just a journey, right? It's just a dream, it's just a whatever, something.
well, I mean, I can't deny that's an organic output for me in that it's been very consistent this lifetime. It's certainly
Mm.
has always been there. And I mean, it does sort of like set the tones of our different like pursuits slightly apart, doesn't it? Because, I'm like, I have all the things that we talk about as the solutions. I have them all.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
um
Good
and
point.
it's not the answer. It's not all the answer to me. Like whereas we can talk about these solutions from not having the perspective, not having those things, then they would be, good hearty things to strive for.
Mm,
And in doing so, fulfill and sustain that purpose and that drive and creativity.
mm.
So I don't know. I mean, I can only assume that these questions are pertinent to me, and sorry for everyone having to suffer through these
No, I'm sure everyone's
indulgent
got the same kind
conversations
of
of mine. But
questions.
so I guess I'm at that point in this journey right now that I have to find a way through those questions. I personally am seeking now to put language and wisdom behind my questions in as far as I wish powerfully to be powerfully in service. That is my greatest, that's what, if I was to acknowledge the thing that lights me up the most, it's 100% that of all the things that I could be doing. And I have a strong desire to do that. And to do that, I have to understand this deeper because the relationship we have to people in this collective consciousness is very detached. I'm generalizing. I gotta go be more specific. Like from just being online realm is 1 degree separation, probably 2 degree separation from reality. And so all the content, all of it, all of everything, all the comments, all of it, all of it. And then you meet people and it's like 1 degree, and then they're present in front of your face. And then you're looking to their eyes, and then you're looking into their soul, and you're seeing their journey, and you're seeing the, and then there's another thing that happens right? There's another thing that happens. And I want to be doing that thing always
Mm.
and with more wisdom, more service. And I mean, I guess this whole show, I guess this whole conversation now is kind of like looking at how we as individuals in this space, like, wish to proceed. As in, what is important to you personally in this journey, and how much care and attention are you putting onto that question and to finding that answer. And like we're, balancing the realm around us and all of this online content, um, and this overload of information, regardless of whether you are the one that's online or not. There's an overload
Mm.
of information. So our brains are
Great.
sort of
Yeah.
scattered, scattered
Yeah.
and scattered and scattered.
Hang on. I'll let you run to
I
the
mean, just
toilet.
spending, oh yeah, okay. Well, I mean, just spending an hour online would scatter your brain so powerfully, I think, and then I don't know, do we have to like all fade out into the darkness for a little bit? Is stillness our greatest weapon? I'm not sure. Are we meant to inhabit a cave for a little while as a collective and reach deeper, reach into ourselves? As Cam said, it's true. Like we should reach deeper into ourselves. To do that, we might need to disengage from, all content and really powerfully set the intention around that question. I mean, one of the first books, I don't tell you guys many stories from my past, but one of the first books that I read that inspired me so deeply was called Cave in the Snow, and it was by a nun called Tenzin Palmer. And yeah, she decided she wanted to be one of those Buddhist practitioners that would take themselves off into a cave and be in that space. And I wonder if the mass amount of content that the truth community take on board all the time, and the mass amount of information, and then the breaking down of everything, and then putting it all back together, and filling the dots, and wiring and firing, all of that, it's 100% put us in a cave, but not in the snow. We've ended up in a cave in front of a screen, and
Interesting
yeah, I'm just
analogy,
wondering
right?
if
Plato's
it's just
cant.
one. Yeah, I'm just wondering, Cam, if actually, there's a few of us out there like me that would be served by putting our full attention on this right now, and you know, having a total disconnect from context, information, content, and see in the asking of those questions what would emerge. I mean, you know what? We hold in our bones like so much information, our
Hmm.
bones, so much of it. I watched a funny thing today, and it was just some guy. I thought this it was clever. I think I sent it to you, and he said, I just don't get how the brain works. Like it
Yeah.
can it can remind it can tell me that I've forgotten something. It can remind me of I've forgotten something, but not what I have forgotten.
Hmm.
So like it's telling me that it's forgotten something.
But it
My
doesn't
brain is
work
telling me it's
on.
forgotten
Yeah.
something, but not what it is that I've forgotten. I thought that's funny, but like, that's kind of a good analogy for our entire reality right now. You know,
Hmm. Yeah.
I guess all I'm saying is that, if you sort of wobble in this space with me, then yeah, it might be the right time to do some
Have a detox.
separation from,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, a detox
Digital
of sort.
detox. Yeah, yeah.
And start, because I probably believe
Um,
that the answers to these questions are going to come from the feminine line. I would say that is the truth because it's been so traumatized and suppressed and out of balance and out of whack. I mean, this whole realm is so completely, oh my
hmm.
gosh, it's so out of balance.
That's good. Takes the pressure off me at least a bit. I don't have the answers, but yeah, I mean, I think and that's the thing, like the Plato's cave, right? We're sitting in caves looking at a screen. We're not looking at the shadows on the wall, but we're looking at the shadows on the screen, right? Same kind of thing. Like that was all about it's not real life. You need to get out there and get into it to know what real life is. But the other thing is, with all
Your
this fear, it's like traveling. Like every time we've gone traveling, right? How many people
your
tell us,
connection's gone weird.
"Oh, am I back now?" something just flashed up. I should be good now. Sorry about my picture too. I left my power cord in bloody Mulaney, so I had to buy one, and it plugs into the plug that my camera plugs into. So anyway, um, yeah, like when we were going traveling, everyone told us not to go, right? Oh my God, there's going to be a lockdown. Oh my God, all this, don't, fear, 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 fear. And, we've been away a few times, you more than me, and we've only had good stuff, right? So it's us that's stopping ourselves doing this stuff. If you want to travel, just travel. Don't go and have a look through all the bad stuff that could go wrong and then go, oh, well, this, just do it. And that's the biggest thing is they're stopping us living and the way we want it. Oh, that this might happen and this might happen. Well, yeah, sure, but you might cross the road, right, and get hit by a bus. We just don't. So I think it all comes back to us, and that's the psyop, right? They're making it this scary, well, they're giving us the illusion of this overly scary world. But when you get out into it, it's not right. People are really nice. Like 99.9% of people are really cool that I've ever come into contact with.
But
Doesn't
but
matter
that
what
world's not
country.
satisfactory. But Cam,
Well,
that
maybe,
world isn't very satisfactory anymore. Yes, people are nice. I agree. And traveling is amazing, so much fun. And everyone's really kind and loving. And like when you look around your world and your neighborhood, it's perfect. It's perfect. It's thriving. The shops are full of beautiful ingredients and things and people
hmm,
and everything is beautiful. It already is that. And
yeah.
are you satisfied?
Well, I mean,
I mean, you have already got all of that.
I'd be happy just traveling. I don't fit. I don't feel that I need to fix any. I don't think I can. I don't think it's impossible for me to fix anyone else's problems or the world's problems. I don't think that's realistic in any way, shape, or form. I think the only thing I can do is be the best me I can be, and that's how you change the world. You be the best you can be, and that will influence other people. And yes, it doesn't mean that, we're doing amazing big things, but maybe this is part of it. Maybe we're overstimulated again from all the stuff, right? All the electronics. And maybe we are enough, or maybe we just need to focus on what we have achieved. Like, I mean, shit, you run a charity, you do this, you organize all the stuff to get people together in groups and events and that, and you still don't feel you're doing enough, but you're doing so much more than most people, right? There's probably not many people that do more about it than you do, but it's still not enough. So is the problem out there or is the problem in our expectations of what we should be doing? And what is this word should? What does that even mean?
I mean, I mean, I'm triple Earth.
Yeah,
Like,
you're very
so, I
grounded.
mean,
Yes.
as you were speaking, all I was saying into my head is that my state of compassion is deeper than my actions. Like, it's just this work, it leads me to this space, which is so, I will rise this lifetime, Mr. Autodidactic. I will rise
Good.
to be a beautiful, powerful teacher. I am going to do this because there's something in me that drives me to um, never feeling like my actions in the world match my compassion for it. I
Mm.
feel like this world, this realm is a domain to care for in all living creatures, in all ways. And I feel big enough in the responsibility of that. So when you say you can't save the world, you can't fix it, I understand exactly what you're saying because you're right. And yet there's an emotional tonality in me. There's an emotional memory. There's a memory imprinted into me, deep inside me that wants to do exactly that,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
right? That isn't just
Well,
can't dismiss it. It can't dismiss it.
no,
And
no. No, I agree. The second part to you can't change the world is you can't not change the world. That's all you're ever doing because you're in it.
like I guess I don't feel like I'm um a tourist on this realm. That I've come here to tour it
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
to
yeah, me
to
too.
yeah, I don't feel disconnected like that. I don't feel that way. I
Oh, you
feel that
don't
I
feel
have a
that way.
deep,
Oh.
no, I don't. See, that's probably our difference. I feel like I have a deep care and responsibility to this realm. Um, whereas I don't feel like I'm traveling here and just enjoying the trip, enjoying the ride. And maybe this is wrong in me. Maybe this is something that requires more wisdom from me, requires more depth of understanding because I certainly don't feel that. I do not feel that. So even when we travel and have amazing experiences, which we do often, I still don't feel like that is my purpose to just
Have fun.
just observe and enjoy the spoils and observe. I just, yeah, it's definitely, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure if my process with this is immature or not. I'm not sure.
No, no. Well,
I
these
can't
comments,
say this
people.
is,
What do you think? But but yeah, well, this is the evolution of us, right? This is what we've got to work out. And if, especially if you want to be a wise elder and a teacher, well, this is getting you there, right? So it's all good. It's all stuff to be thankful for that you're collecting the wisdom that will turn you into an elder. Right? That's what elders need. That's what teachers need is to be wise. So you're getting lots of viewpoints. So, I think it's hard to see the finish line, right, from the middle of the race. Like we don't know where we're going really, and it does feel at least semi-scripted, right? That there's some things that we just don't seem to be able to avoid as far as our life path. So it seems like we're all sort of here to do something, as you know. Um, but yeah, I think yeah,
I mean,
it,
we've
ultimately
often,
it's us, right? It's not the outside world. So we've really got to work on deflecting all this negativity, and if it's not helping us, if it's something you can do, if there's something terrible happens and you can do it, if you're near a disaster and you can go and help, whatever, awesome, go and do it. But it's this whole thing of, oh my God, there's so much bad in the world. It's so bad, and I can't do anything. That I see in a lot of people, and it's devastating, right? People's whole lives change. Instead of waking up, they end up in this horrible world that they can't change, and they feel helpless, and that's not good. It's just not. And so especially if people are emotional and are a bit more vulnerable to these topics, don't
yeah,
go down the rabbit hole.
no, that's not good. And that's not what I'm referring to. Conversations we've had about becoming elders and what that looks like is
Mm,
maybe the side of me that's grappling because and maybe that is the heart of what I'm trying to say is as the only true frequency generators left on the realm, apart from, well, we probably are because we have basically decalcified ourselves from their system and have done the most little amount to interfere with our frequencies biologically,
mm,
um, and disconnected from all of that for a long time now. That our community is the strongest frequency generators, which means that our collective community are the ones that truly are, responsible for generating this reality in any way that it's going to go, which means ultimately, from that perspective, we're the ones bringing about the end times prophecies. We're the ones bringing about the apocalypse. We're the ones bringing about we're the ones bringing about the agenda. We're the ones bringing about the notion of the parasite. We're the ones bringing around, we are the ones that have like collectively given our consciousness to this idea of truth seeking.
mm,
And, like we're the ones that have done that. So as the strongest vibrating frequency generators today, then I guess my question is, what does it mean to be elders of that? Like, what does it mean to start to move into a deeper, wiser, more connected, more compassionate, more empathetic, more emotional, more vibrational experience as the truthers of this community? What does
mm.
that eldership look like? And I guess you and I have an interesting dichotomy there because as I mean, and I look, I'm saying this lightly and gently, darling, but you know, as a tourist who would just be enjoy cruising around and experiencing the world without being attached to it, or being in a state of observation, which is a healthy place to be. And I think you speak of the masculine, I speak of the feminine. If you actually bring those two together, you would have probably a very beautiful regeneration of your own being. So me to do more of what Cam lives by, Cam to maybe do more of how I feel about things. I'm not sure, but you know, there is the next question of what does it mean? What is the purpose of all of this? All of this, my friends, like what is the meaning? And I would say that is to rise as elders, or what does elders mean? You know, what does that mean? Because it is the elders that seed the vision to the next generation.
Mm. Oh,
And whether we're talking human beings or we're talking that is at what we call our home or our earth, you know, whether it's emanating, you know, in that earthy ancestral way down to our children, whether it's emanating in building this new construct of reality we want to call the new earth, like at some point we all have to become those custodians, right? We have to be those
yeah.
custodians. We have to be that legacy. And
If,
what does that look like? And what does that look like is my set of questions.
well,
So not to be
it's
answered today, by the way,
turning
obviously.
information into
I mean,
wisdom. It's the same thing, right? Turning all this information into wisdom. If we don't do anything with it, what's the point of having it? You know, which is the whole thing about the, you know, the farm and everything and getting people together is, you know, do something with it. We've got to get out and physically do stuff. And that's ultimately what we're doing in life, right? The bigger picture is we're getting all this information and then it's our choice if we want to turn that into wisdom or not. You know, we learn all these things. What do we want to understand and go out and physically do? And so then be, a, you know, because until you do that, you can't be a teacher on it. You can't be any kind of elder, you know. So everything I think is, it's what we do. People who, you know, what they do, not what they say. You know, but too many people are saying things and not doing it. And I hear it all the time. People tell me, "Oh, I'm this and I'm this and I'm that." And I'm like, "Well, if you really were, you would not have to tell me that because I would know just by observing you. You don't need to tell anyone what you are. You just need to be that and turn that into wisdom, and other people will notice it, you know." And I mean, all that kind of
no,
talk
it's kind of
obviously
like
comes
embodying your
from,
archetype.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Just embody it, you know, because all this telling people, "Oh, I'm this and I'm that," and it comes from a place of not feeling that you're enough. But when you start doing stuff, you'll start showing yourself, wow, I can do
Of
that. Wow, I'm
course.
pretty good at that. Oh my God, that was fun. I am pretty good. Wow, that I am, and that's how you become more of yourself. You prove it to yourself, right? To sit in front of a computer all the time and just watching stuff and taking information in, but not doing anything with it, it's not good, you know, for your self-esteem either, right? I think it's get some information and then
But Campbell, as
do
you
something.
know, it's,
Mm, as I
I
know.
mean, it's, you know, it's, as you know, it's like a fine line there, you know, as you know, like this is like a fine line we're talking about. But I feel like we're probably saying this,
Over and
we
over,
probably
yes,
discussed this.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I think probably, you know, like what I'm seeking, yes, yes. There's a lag between us
There
now,
is
by the way.
now,
By the
yeah.
way, Campbell's in Amsterdam, everyone. He's far away
Yes,
with and I'm so we've got the internet's a little bit. Mm. But isn't it? It's like you're far away, but yes, here we are.
here we are. So,
This
so you
is
know,
confusing reality
the
that we live
internet can
in.
be good, right? It's like anything, nothing's good or bad. It's just
I was watching,
how you use it.
I was watching this, I was watching this, I don't even know who it was, but discussing um, crypto. And it was interesting because I have for a long time now suspected that it feels like it's just such a what the fuck, like a delusion, basically. You know, this whole like that somewhere out there in another dimension we're like mining things and bringing it into our dimension, and it's worth this much money, and it's your invest, and you own this thing and this dimension, and you're working in this dimension, this thing. It's just such a like, and yeah, this it was concurring with that concept, whether it's true or not. But
Yeah.
the idea it's just like, wow, one concept called cryptocurrency that you can never see or touch or get your head around or understand or language it. It's like so out there as a, if you really think about what it represents and stands for, like there's no hardware around it. It's all in another dimension. And I
Mm.
thought, wow, yeah, that's true. Like that, yeah, like that could be a total delusion. Just that
Perceived
side
value
note,
for
because
sure.
I was,
Same as money, kind of. But I mean, yeah,
it's so
when she
funny.
said that, I thought,
It's,
yeah, but people do take it out and turn it into cash and turn it into, physical things.
but
But I
what a
mean,
weird thing.
it is weird. Like if the system goes down, there's no more crypto, and all the kids are into
It's just so
Minecraft,
strange.
right? Is that some kind of programming, get them into Minecraft so that when they're adults, they keep mining the crypto in their little
Yeah,
computer
yeah,
screens? I don't know.
yeah.
It's a weird one.
Crypt,
Crypt, yeah,
crypt,
yeah. I mean,
crypt.
yeah, it comes from encrypted because of the codes and that, but yes, it is crypt, as in dead people.
It's a very strange realm. It's definitely it feels definitely the realm of the AI, which feels the realm of the jinn, which feels the realm of electricity, which feels the realm of the fallen angels, which all just feels like the same thing
Yeah.
of it being like not our realm. Like,
No, and that's the thing, the gin, the smokeless fire, the electricity, the electronics. And as we get more of that grid, we're seeing more of this, negative um, frequency stuff going on, right? Like they're literally building the world that they can control, but it doesn't exist. It's only in a screen, right? It doesn't really exist. Just like crypto, just like all this stuff. So that's, I think, yeah, we've the part of the taking the power back is to, yeah,
yeah,
detox a bit.
I know.
Not if you're on the computer all the time, then get off it, get out in nature, ground yourself, take holidays. Because it's not healthy to just, sit and feast on conspiracy theories all day. And God knows there's enough to keep you going all day and all night out there. Everyone's going for it at the moment.
Well, I have to say that I do all those things. I'm outside, I'm in the sun, I'm all of those things, and still,
Mm.
Capel, still.
And so,
But anyway, that's not to say that's not a solution. It's just
yeah, I mean, it's
it's
frustrating.
just the first layer of one, I believe.
Yeah, we've just got to focus,
But
the more we ask the questions, the closer we get to the answer we need, right? Like what will fulfill me? How do I get out of this? If we're asking these questions, then I think we'll get answers.
yeah, yeah. Well, yes. Well, I'm definitely asking. And look, I think we can stop this conversation
Yeah, I
now.
know
It's
we've gone
probably
about in
like
circles a little bit. Yeah.
yes, and this was yeah, was what it is.
It was what it is. We didn't reach many conclusions, but leave us your comments below. Leave nice, happy, cheery comments and faces for Kelly. Cheer her up. And come and see us
No,
in
no,
Mulaney.
no, wait. Don't think that I'm miserable. No, no, I don't want the audience to think that. I'm not in a state of misery. I'm not in a state of sadness. I'm not in a state of despair or hopelessness. I'm definitely not in that space. I'm in the space of um,
What's it all aboutness?
reflection more, and I guess I'm in a stiller, deeper, wanting to
You're asking bigger
I
questions,
guess I'm just seeking.
you know.
Mm, yeah.
What's it all about?
And it
Am I on the
leaves you
right
in a
path,
state of, yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And it's a bit stiller. It's a bit of a stiller space, which
Yeah,
is ironic since I came from those monastic days. and dismiss the whole, it is a stiller space. It's stiller, and it's kind of, it's actually, it's quite, it's interesting. Like I'm definitely going to do a detox just on the state of like making sure that in my own darkness, I'm feeling settled, making sure that in my own inner realm, I'm feeling settled, and making sure that the depths of me is at peace and at ease and calm within myself. I want to make sure of this again. Maybe it's something other people might consider if it's something that if you've in any way related to anything I've been musing on. That there's like I want to check in with my piece of my I want to check in. I want to know if my equilibrium is if I'm to sit in my darkness for 30 days, if what I find in there is at peace.
Mm. Yes, well, I think that's what we all need to do, right? Is just check ourselves, ask better
Because I
questions. Are
think
we in the right
I
spot? Are we
think from
going the right
there,
way?
I think from there, pure creation can happen. And I think from a place of pure creation, when you're there, actually very big, powerful things can happen
Mm. I
because there's no
agree.
limitations.
Get rid of your
But to
buts.
find, mm,
Like, I want to do this, but oh, the world's going to lock down again. I want to do this, but oh, the government, oh, but the prices. Get rid of your buts and understand that none of that matters because that's the outside world. If we're true creators, none of that shit matters. It's just what you focus on that matters. So get rid of your
well,
butts.
then I guess all I'm saying is, are we giving ourselves enough time, focus, and space to do that?
Well, yeah, exactly. Clearly not. I think we're all expecting a lot from ourselves, with the time that we put into it. It's like if you went to your job
Mm.
and you worked for 10% of the time, you probably wouldn't do too well at your job or have it very long, right? So if we've got dreams and we're only putting 10% of our time into it, how can we expect it to come to fruition quickly? We can't. That's not doesn't make sense, right?
Or
So,
or at least the 10% you put into it is powerful.
yeah,
Mm.
let's do it well. Well, that's the other thing, right? Some people can do when they're focused and do jobs well, they can get 8 hours, someone else's 8 hours done in 1 hour, right? So
I
give
just want to
full
know why I'm
attention.
not feeling powerful. I want to know why I'm not feeling powerful. That's what I want to know that. I want to know
Mm.
why I am not feeling powerful.
Yes, me too.
Mm.
But I mean, the energies could be low at the moment. There's the human resonance is freaking out. There's all this stuff, it's a weird time to be alive. But also saying that, if you cut yourself off from everything for 30 days and set out in the bush, none of that is happening, right? It would all go away. So it's all this us focusing on stuff that we don't need to, right? We don't need to know everything second by second. We don't. We just need to know what we want
Mm.
and what we want to create. That's the main thing.
Mm. All right. Well, anyway, I feel like
You got it
okay.
out of
All right.
you.
I'm just like, oh my God, we can't even release this. We can't release this conversation. What am I thinking? It's like I've offered nothing.
Hmm.
Anyway.
I'm sure many people
All
there.
right
So
then.
leave us
Well,
your
let's leave it
comments.
there.
Yeah, and leave us your comments, guys. What are you doing? What's helping? What's not? What's your plan? Have you done a digital detox? How did it go? Let us know. And come and see us in Mullaney.
All
Tick
right, mate.
below, link below, Mullaney
Ah,
Live
yes.
in like a week or 10 days or
Indeed.
something. Yes, come and see us.
Indeed, absolutely, 100%. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be
We're
fantastic.
probably going to have, well, I don't even know. Yeah, it will, because there's
Upbeat,
going to be
happy.
a room full of amazing fucking people.
Mm, definitely.
Mm.
So link below.
And I'll have something deeper to say on what we've talked about today. I will have something much deeper to say after a week of contemplation on it, definitely.
Mm, yeah, me too. I'll think about it and, you know, leave us your input and yes, help us solve this one. That's why we didn't put a
All right, guys.
last week, but we did this week. And that's it.
All right. Have a beautiful, beautiful week. And we'll catch you soon
We
on
will.
Tartaria, Australia.
All right, stay awesome, guys. See ya.